what can we say about this last chapter? What can we say about this new masterclass by Kishimoto and Ikemoto for the publication of Chapter 18, which was rich in historical content? This chapter was there to finalize all the stakes and the importance of the fight of Team 7, Yodo and Araya, against the Shinjus. And I told you in my last video that the fight between the Shinjus and the shinobi would not take place in this chapter. I said that based only on the 2 leaks we had. But otherwise, this chapter was really excellent. So, without further ado, let's start this review of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Chapter 18.
Already, the chapter begins with Sumire, who is still tormented by the scene she made to Sarada. She realizes only now that she must think before acting. Upon entering the room where Amado resides, she overhears Kawaki supposedly arguing violently with Amado. As seen in the previous chapter, Kawaki forces Amado to remove his limiters so he can become stronger. Here we see that Kawaki prefers to get strength easily, without doing anything, rather than training hard like Boruto, Sasuke, and Naruto. We see that Boruto, Sasuke, and Naruto were really born differently.
Then, Amado decides to air-condition Kawaki by sending him to sleep, just as Steph Curry sent France to sleep during the 2024 Olympics. He literally one-shot Kawaki just by saying, "Only babble in your sleep, Kawaki." I find that in terms of power, Amado is underestimated.
Then, on the Suna side, things happen. Sarada and Mitsuki take Ryu to Yodo and Ayara. As soon as Ryu saw Yodo, he immediately knew she was wrong. Sarada saves the day by telling him that it's nothing, that she's like that with everyone. We see here, as I said in my previous video, that Ryu has remarkable sensory abilities. On Konohamaru's side, everything is going well. Matsuri doesn't suspect anything for the moment.
Using his sand iron filings to find Boruto, Ryu still senses Yodo's killing aura. He then begins to have suspicions about the shinobi.
Mitsuki will try to save the situation again by asking why the Shinjus are looking for Boruto. Ryu will answer that he doesn't know exactly. He just knows that it's because Boruto knows way too much information and is therefore dangerous to the Shinjus. Sarada then goes to ask Ryu that they could use the Tojidama, the Soul Thorn, to lure Boruto out.
Back in Konoha, Kawaki wakes up. Amado will tell Kawaki that he understands his point of view. He therefore agrees to remove Kawaki's limiters, on one condition, that he implants his Kama from his late daughter. Let's remember who Amado's daughter is. Akabe is a deceased daughter, whose loss deeply affected Amado's life and motivated his actions. Although she is not directly present in the story, his memories of her influence his decisions, including his involvement in scientific research for Kara. Her personality remains an enigma, but she is depicted as someone important to Amado, enough so that he took desperate measures after her death. This includes her involvement in controversial experiments and the creation of entities like Delta, who he supposedly modeled as a replacement for his lost daughter. Amado speaks of her with great emotion, which shows the love and regret he feels for her. Then Kawaki will take such great steps as his fighting level that he does not have, and will drastically oppose what Amado proposed to him. He opposes this because he fears that another Otsutsuki will be born and Naruto will be in danger. I still don't understand why Kawaki is so keen on defending someone stronger than him and who can defend himself. He will impose his condition by saying that it is only after eliminating the Shinjus, Code, and Boruto. It is important to note that Kawaki makes such statements as if he had the level to beat threats such as Boruto and Jura. But on one point, he is right. The fight between the Kawaki fraud and the code fraud may perhaps turn in his favor. After all, the winner will necessarily be a fraud.
In Suna, things start to go downhill. Matsuri tells us she's having the best day of her life by spamming the nickname Kanoamaru-chan. Kanoamaru then begins to feel embarrassed because there is only one person who calls her that. Kanoamaru will therefore express his wish to no longer call him that. Matsuri will then change his expression and will ask that this person who calls him that would not be Moegi. Kanoamaru tries to dodge, but Matsuri gets angry and attacks him.
On Sarada and the other side, things are going extremely badly. First, Ryu will pretend to find Sarada's idea of bringing out a thorn soul to attract Boruto as a good idea. Then a thorn soul will come out of his belly. And remember, in the video that talked about a leak of Chapter 17, I warned you. I told you that because of Yodo's twisted behavior, it will ruin the mission. Yodo will then throw himself and fall into the trap that Ryu set for them.
The funniest thing is that before Yodo lunges at the Thorn Soul, Ryu goes straight to us readers and says, "Let's see if they bite." I believe he has the ability to speak to us readers just like Deadpool in the Marvel Universe. Perhaps his sensory abilities are so heightened that he is able to perceive our presence. Ryu is definitely born differently. By rushing towards the Soul Thorn, Yodo only confirmed Ryu's suspicions. So Ryu used his iron sand filings to immobilize them and be able to control them as he wished. This is an ability of Gaara and Kankuro mixed together. This is a terrifying and devastating power. He will use it to humiliate the shinobi by controlling Sarada, making her carry a kunai, and directs her towards Yodo to kill her.
Chapter ends with this masterclass from Araya. He managed to stop Ryu using the sword that he and Shinki had developed. So the fight will take place in the next chapter.
To conclude on the video, I find that this chapter was really rich in story lore. However, I'm really starting to get impatient for the fight.
The fight between Kanoamaru and Matsuri promises to be bloody. I think Kanoamaru will even lose his skin. The fight between Sarada, Mitsuki, Yodo, and Ayara against Ryu promises to be epic. I think Boruto will even give them a little help. And you, what do you think? What is certain is that Ayara is definitely the MVP of this chapter.